The studio lights brighten as Kelly Clarkson welcomes the audience with her signature warm smile, introducing today's guest, the legendary Kate Winslet, who gracefully walks out to thunderous applause wearing an elegant red dress, waving enthusiastically while the band plays a upbeat tune, and she takes her seat on the iconic couch next to Kelly, who gushes about how excited she is to have the Titanic star on the show again after their previous fun chats, mentioning how Kate's new directorial project sounds amazing and asking her to share a bit about it right away. But as Kate begins talking passionately about the emotional depth of family bonds in her film Goodbye June, Kelly nods along supportively, complimenting Kate's talent and how she's always been an inspiration in Hollywood for staying true to herself. The audience cheers loudly, and everything seems perfectly normal at first, with both women laughing about shared experiences in the industry, exchanging stories about raising children in the spotlight and the challenges of balancing career and family life. Kate opening up about her son's involvement in the script, which makes Kelly exclaim how brilliant her family is, prompting more laughter. But then Kelly shifts the topic slightly by asking a question about Kate's views on modern Hollywood pressures, particularly around body image and how actresses are treated by the media, referencing old tabloid stories from the 90s that criticized Kate unfairly, and Kate responds thoughtfully at first, agreeing that those times were tough but she's proud of pushing back. However, as Kelly probes deeper, perhaps intending to relate it to her own experiences with public scrutiny over the years, the tone starts to shift subtly when Kate mentions how some hosts or interviewers still bring up outdated narratives without sensitivity, and Kelly tries to pivot back to the positive, but the conversation lingers there for a moment longer than expected, building a slight tension that's noticeable to the live audience, who begin to quiet down a bit. As the interview continues, Kelly attempts to lighten the mood by sharing a personal anecdote about her own journey with body positivity and how she's learned to ignore critics over time, praising Kate for being a pioneer in that space long before it was trendy. And Kate smiles politely but then counters with a pointed remark about how even well-meaning comments can sometimes feel reductive when they focus too much on appearance rather than the work itself, emphasizing that she spent decades fighting those stereotypes and wishes discussions could move fully beyond them. Kelly nods understandingly and agrees wholeheartedly, saying that's exactly why she admires Kate so much, trying to steer back to the film by asking about specific scenes involving the dysfunctional siblings reuniting for Christmas, which Kate describes vividly with enthusiasm, talking about the cast including Toni Collette and Helen Mirren, making the audience laugh with behind-the-scenes stories of holiday-themed mishaps on set. But then Kelly innocently brings up a recent interview where Kate discussed tabloids owing her an apology for past coverage, asking if she feels the industry has truly changed since then, and Kate's expression shifts slightly as she explains passionately that while progress has been made, real accountability is still lacking and some media outlets perpetuate similar issues today, her voice rising a touch with genuine frustration from years of experience. Kelly responds empathetically, sharing how she's faced similar unfair treatment but frames it as something they've both overcome triumphantly. However, Kate pushes back, saying it's not just about overcoming but about systemic change that hasn't fully happened yet, leading to a brief pause where both women look at each other intently, the audience sensing the shift in energy as the conversation deepens into more serious territory than typical light daytime talk, with Kelly trying to acknowledge Kate's point while also adding her perspective that positivity helps heal those old wounds. The tension escalates when Kelly mentions how inspiring it is that Kate has directed this deeply personal film amidst everything, tying it back to themes of loss and celebration of life, referencing how the movie moved her emotionally, but Kate interprets the comment as perhaps glossing over the harder realities of grief and industry struggles, responding with a firmer tone about how glossing over pain doesn't honor it properly and that authentic storytelling like in her film demands facing uncomfortable truths head-on without sugarcoating for audience comfort. Kelly looks surprised but recovers quickly, agreeing that authenticity is key and that's why the film resonates so much, complimenting Kate again on her bravery in tackling such topics. The audience applauds politely, but there's an underlying awkwardness now as the two strong-willed women navigate differing emphases in their views, Kate elaborating on how directors and hosts alike have a responsibility to platform voices without redirecting to safer topics, her passion evident as she gestures animatedly. Kelly listens attentively, then shares how her show aims to be uplifting while still real, but the exchange feels like a subtle clash of approaches, with Kate advocating for unfiltered rawness and Kelly leaning toward hopeful resolution, leading to a moment where Kelly asks if Kate thinks talk shows contribute to the problem sometimes, perhaps jokingly, but it lands with more weight, and Kate replies directly that occasionally yes, when difficult subjects are hurried past for commercial breaks or lighter segments, causing Kelly to defend the format, saying it's about balance for viewers at home during daytime. The back and forth intensifying politely but noticeably with raised voices and interrupted sentences. Suddenly the debate heats up further as Kate expresses frustration that even in 2025 some conversations circle back to old tropes instead of fully embracing new narratives women are creating, pointing out that her directorial debut should be the focus without detours into past media battles. Kelly apologizes if she veered off but explains she thought connecting it personally would highlight Kate's impact. However, Kate counters that personal connections can sometimes overshadow the art itself if not careful, her British directness coming through strongly now as the audience gasps softly at the escalating exchange. Kelly remains composed but visibly taken aback, asserting that her intentions were purely admiring and that relating experiences helps guests feel seen. But Kate shakes her head, saying feeling seen shouldn't require relitigating traumas for entertainment, the words hanging heavily in the air as the band stays silent and producers whisper offstage. Kelly tries one more time to redirect by praising the film's cast and asking about working with Helen Mirren, but Kate passionately insists they address the pattern first, leading to a heated moment where voices overlap and gestures become more emphatic. The clash no longer subtle but outright intense, though still respectful in tone without personal attacks, just differing strongly held beliefs clashing in real time on live television. The peak arrives when Kelly, sensing the discomfort, suggests taking a quick commercial break to reset, but Kate declines, saying if they're going to have a real conversation it should continue uninterrupted. Challenging the structured format indirectly, Kelly explains network constraints but agrees to push forward, asking Kate to elaborate on what changes she'd like to see, and Kate launches into a fervent monologue about empowering women fully in media without qualifiers or apologies going unaddressed, the audience divided between applause for her candor and murmurs of surprise at the turn. Kelly interjects supportively yet defensively that her platform has always championed such voices, including Kate's multiple times. But the interruption frustrates Kate, who says that's precisely why it's disappointing when depth gets diluted, leading to a sharp exchange where Kelly raises her voice slightly, saying no dilution was intended and this is a celebration of Kate's work, Kate retorting that celebrations ring hollow without confronting lingering issues. The heat palpable now as both stand their ground fiercely. Finally, after several minutes of this intense back and forth, security subtly approaches as producers signal off camera. Kelly, looking flustered, announces they need to wrap the segment early due to time but thanks Kate for her honesty. However, Kate stands up, declaring she's not comfortable continuing if the conversation can't be fully honest without abrupt cuts, walking off the set mid-sentence to stunned silence followed by mixed audience reactions. Kelly apologizes to viewers, explaining passionate discussions sometimes run hot but wishes Kate well, cutting to commercial as headlines later explode with the shocking moment. Debates raging online about who was right and whether daytime TV is ready for such raw clashes, the incident becoming viral fodder, analyzing every word and gesture in slow motion for days afterward.